Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the Moving Toward Better podcast. I'm your host, Karen Bemis from movingtowardbetter.com, and I'm here to help you live your best life and let the rest go. Hello, my lovelies. Today we're talking about how to stay grounded in chaotic times. Can we all just disagree that we're living in some serious chaos right now? I am not an anxious person by nature, but the other day I was doing the lunch dishes. The dogs were outside in the sunshine. My husband was working in the dining room, and my son was upstairs on his computer. Out of nowhere, I started to feel incredibly anxious. Nothing bad had happened. Nothing was amiss. It rarely happens, but there it was. I asked my husband for a hug and told him I was going to go off to my office to listen to some music, which is one of my coping skills for stress, and one I hope you use frequently too. And I'll talk about that later in the podcast, so stay tuned. But for now, I want to get to a list of things that I have that I use to stay grounded during chaotic times. I'm sure some of these ideas are things you've heard before, and hopefully some of them are new ideas to add to your arsenal to stay grounded. So let's get started. Number 1, breathe. I know that sounds crazy, but when we're stressed, we tend to breathe very shallow. It's hard for us to remember to take deep breaths. So also on a podcast, that is not necessarily something you want to do into a microphone, but I want you to think about this. I want you to think about taking a deep breath through your nose and then letting it out through your mouth. While you're thinking about that, taking nice deep breaths where your stomach actually moves because the bottom of your lungs is getting filled up. Then I'm going to move on to point number 2, which is to unclench. While you're doing that, while you're taking these nice deep breaths, think about unclenching your forehead. Think about unclenching your jaw, your neck, dropping your shoulders, unclenching your stomach. The first time somebody told me that, I was like, whoa. I had no idea how much stress I was holding in my stomach, all clenched up. Some people hold it in their back, some in their hips. Some of you like scrunch up your toes when you're stressed. Just let that all go. Let that all relax. Unclench everything while you're breathing. Now, if you really want to get into it, we can do a little visualization. You can think about a place you love to be, the place where you feel the most calm. Maybe it's your bed. Maybe it's driving in your car. Maybe it's being at the beach or in the mountains or just hiking somewhere. Everybody, at least almost everybody, has a place that they can go that's so peaceful for them. I'll give you an example. For me, one of my favorite places to visualize myself is, believe it or not, my brother's backyard. My brother lives on a lake, and when that sun sets over that lake, being out on the back porch or outside if the bugs aren't bad, it's one of my favorite places to be. It's so serene and it's so calming. And if you don't have a place like that, please go on the internet. There are pictures that you can look at. If it's a beach you want to be on or a view that you want to see, look it up so that you've got something in your mind to think about that just brings you peace. One of the other things, point number 4, that is huge, I think, and it's something that scares people a little bit also, I think, is yoga. People think of yoga as like twisting yourself into a pretzel. And yes, there are types of yoga that are very challenging, and people do certain vinyasas or positions that are very challenging, but most yoga is not set up to be that way. Particularly Hatha yoga is very much about your breath, and it's very much about just being present in your body and you don't push. That's the cool thing about yoga, where with a lot of regular training, you're taught to push through. With yoga, you are taught to go to where your body can go, not beyond where your body is comfortable, but where your body is comfortable. It's really cool when you start to get that part of yoga, and it becomes very, very comforting. As a matter of fact, some people will tell you that the most difficult position in yoga is what they call the corpse pose, where you lay on your back and you lay still. It's amazing. Once you learn how to do it well, you can just keep relaxing and relaxing and relaxing. As a matter of fact, I got so good at it in one class, I used to fall asleep almost every yoga class. That's when my kids were younger. And I apologized it was new to yoga, and I apologized to the instructor. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I keep falling asleep. And she's like, no, you don't understand. As a yoga instructor, that is one of the greatest compliments you can give us, is to be so relaxed when you're done doing yoga that you just go right to sleep. That's a beautiful thing. Point number 5. Water is your friend. If you don't know this one can be great, especially if you have small children. When my children were in preschool, the director of the preschool told us, and I thought this was crazy at first, she's like, look, if your kids are agitated, if they're just having a rough day, put them in water. And we're like, what? And she's like, I don't care if you fill up a sink with bubbles, or you do a bubble bath, or you start your hose and do a sprinkler or something. She's like, put your kids in water. It's amazing how it calms them down. Now, I'm not talking little babies who don't like to be undressed or whatever. Most kids, that's how they can calm down. And it was a revelation to understand that and to learn that. That also works for you. Now, I'm not a bath person. I've tried. I'm not a hot tub person. I get really, really bored. But a shower, or just sometimes just we're all washing our hands these days a lot more. But just being very intentional about feeling the water run over your hands. And that's the other thing. Right now, we're probably counting to 20. You can keep your hands in that warm water for more than 20 seconds and just gently, not scrubbing, yes, you got to get the germs off, but be gentle with yourself. Let that water just run over your hands, or get in a shower and just let it come down over your whole body. You won't regret it. Point number 6. Get outside. Again, I'm recording this when there are a lot of people that have either a safe at home, a stay in place, a shelter in place, or even more strict than that, more restrictions than that. But fresh air is good for all of us. Now, where I happen to be, it's okay for us to take a walk a couple times a day. So that's what my husband and I do. We walk around the block and we just get some fresh air. Right now, it's going into spring where I live, so it's getting a little warmer. If you can't get outside, open a window and sit next to it. Let that fresh air come in. Breathe deep. Go back to the breathing and the unclenching and the visualizing. All of that works when you're even sitting next to an open window. So think about that. There are ways for you to do things. It's all about being creative. Number 7, declutter and clear your space. This is a little more challenging right now because a lot of places are closed and you can't take your things somewhere. Now, there are sites on the internet where people do free exchanges and things like that. That can work. A lot of what you have around may actually be garbage, or somebody else may be able to use it. There are Facebook marketplaces, there's things like that where you can sell things if you want to, but there's also places where you can give things away. There are homeless shelters if you've got furniture and things like that I'm sure would be happy to take your donations. It's all about just thinking outside the box just a little bit. Number 8, get creative. Now, I've had people tell me over and over again that they're not creative. They're like, oh, no, I don't think like that. And I remember saying to someone one time, I said, I understand that you're an accountant. And she's like, yes, I am. And I said, so when you do somebody's taxes, are you pretty good at finding deductions for them? And she said, I'm really good at it, actually. And she said, that's what I do. That's my job with the accounting office, is to make sure that they've taken all their deductions. And I said, in my mind, that is a creative endeavor. And she looked at me like, what? And I said, look, I would have no clue how to find those deductions. If I didn't use an online tax service that helped me find deductions, I would miss all of that. I said, that is a form of creativity. It's not just recall. You know which place to go for what businesses or what a person does. And that is a type of creativity. That being said, woodworking is a creativity. Gardening is a creativity. All of those things, cooking, all of those things can be very creative. Organizing your garage can be creative, because you have to think about, where am I going to place everything so that it's the easiest to get to, or so I can access this other thing. Those are all creative endeavors, and they engage different parts of your brain. So it gets endorphins going as well when you do these things, especially the decluttering and figuring where to put things. That puts both sides of your brain together, which is really kind of cool, right? Number 9, communicate. Now, when I say that, right now we're all physically distanced from each other, but that doesn't mean we have to stay apart from one another. When's the last time you wrote a letter? Handwritten letter. Oh, do you even have paper to write it on? I recently had to order some stationery. It wasn't the easiest thing I've done, because there's not a lot out there anymore. But you can write a letter. If you don't want to take the time to write a whole letter, send a card. Most of us have extra cards sitting around. Not everybody, but a lot of us do. Have a little card, note card of some kind. Just write a little note to somebody, says, thinking of you. I guarantee you it will make their day when they get it. If you don't want to do that at all, if you're like, no way, not happening, call somebody. Call somebody older in particular. If you've got grandparents that are still around, a phone call to them means the world. Even if you only talk for a few minutes and say, hey, I was thinking about you. I thought maybe I would, just call and see how you're doing. And then they'll, it doesn't have to be a long conversation, just a conversation to let them know they're being thought about. Number 10. Help somebody. Again, depending on what your shelter in place is, help somebody. If you can't leave your house and you've got the financial wherewithal to do it, donate some money. In our part of the country, they're asking us to buy some gift cards for restaurants so that when they open back up, or while they're closed, you are helping to support the people that are not working. We have one restaurant group here that they had to furlough 60 people, and they are still paying for their health benefits through the end of June, when they actually hope that they can hire them back and be able to open all the restaurants again. Fingers crossed, I'll tell you. But buying those gift cards now help them stay in business. So just something to think about. If you can't do that, if you have neighbors or friends that you could make something for, or you could get their groceries for them, deliver them if they can't get out, find a way to help somebody. Again, the possibilities are endless here, folks. They really and truly are. And finally, music. Number 11, music. Music is my thing. Music. Oh, right now, there's times where I'm having trouble falling asleep, which is unusual for me. So I've been listening to some special music at night that's specifically for relaxing. I listen to music in the morning that helps me to focus for the day. I listen to music when I'm happy. I listen to music when I'm sad. I actually am a person who, if there's things going on around me, like if my family's watching TV and I need to work and I need to focus, I will put music on and put my headphones on because I can actually think better, even if there's music with words in it in the background. Now, I know everybody can't do that, but music helps to keep me sane some days. It just keeps me grounded. It keeps me where I need to be. So, really quickly, breathe, unclench, visualize, do some yoga, get in water, get outside, declutter or clear your space, get creative, communicate, help somebody, and listen to music. See, every time you feel stress, you're resisting what is. Every time you release that resistance with any of these 11 things, you make room for peace. You make room for acceptance and understanding. That helps you to stay in the moment as much as possible. It helps you do what you can instead of worrying about what you can't. So, try one. Let me know how it goes. I would love to hear comments in the show notes, and I will put a few links in the show notes that will help you with some of the things that I've talked about and places that you can go to learn about them, even if you have to do it online. So, my friends, we do need to stay grounded in these chaotic times, and the more grounded we can stay, the better we can help others do the same. Until next time, love you guys. Keep moving toward better so you can live your best life and let the rest go. Love you guys. Bye-bye. At movingtowardbetter.com, it's our mission to help you live your best life and let the rest go. If you want to make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe to the podcast today, and then go to our website, movingtowardbetter.com, to sign up to be part of our email community. That way, you'll always have access to all the Moving Toward Better fun and shenanigans. As always, thanks for listening, thanks for being you, and have a great day. Love you all.